Today I'll be interviewing Michaela. She is going to share with us her personal experience of working on a yacht that brought her complete misery. So Michaela was in a very difficult predicament where she was told that she should stay on board and work the duration of the season to prove longevity. This is very common. It's something that you will hear in particular from recruiters. My beliefs around this is if you're unhappy, then move on. It is not worth suffering and putting your mental health at risk because of a toxic environment. Hi everyone, I have Michaela with us, and Michaela is joining us today because I have received a lot of messages this past season where crew have been a little bit disappointed with their current yacht. They might be working in a toxic environment, or their yacht is not in alignment with their values. So this puts, I would say, added pressure on the job roles that they already have, and to be waking up in the morning and not feeling joyous about going to work is just another added flavor to that. So Michaela was in a situation very similar to a lot of you girls, particularly on working on a yacht that just didn't feel right for her to be on. And I've just pulled up a text message, and I was just telling Michaela earlier, I was going back to the history of the Instagram messages. And Michaela has said, I'm working my notice period, I think until the end of the month. Nothing was confirmed, and hopefully we'll find a new position before I leave. Excited for the adventure ahead. I didn't want to resign without another job already lined up, but I couldn't handle the anxiety I was experiencing anymore. So I just took the plunge, and I know I will find something great. So Michaela, can you give us a little bit of background on that experience? For me, the standout is anxiety, because I know this is common with a lot of crew members who feel that anxiety of whether to stay or leave, and with recruitment companies who say that you need to work a full season so that it doesn't poorly reflect on your CV. What was that like for you?
Ooh, it's taken me back a bit. I mean, it was anxiety filled as well during the entire season, and it just caused a lot of stress. There's also in the point where it eventually gets hard to wake up. You're not enjoying it. You have no motivation. And it just builds and builds, because it gets worse and worse, because the worse you feel as well, the worse things appear to be. So you're feeling worse, and the situation seems to be getting worse, and it's like a snowball effect, because then it just keeps getting worse. And for me, it was now after the season, and things just weren't getting better. It was a hostile environment, I want to say. Like there was a lot. There was like micromanaging, there was bullying, isolation. Like I was alone. My closest source of connection or support was you and my family back home. So there was really nobody close, and you don't realize how isolating just that can be as well, just because you have no one, and you're trying to deal with all this by yourself, and you don't quite have that support. And the anxiety it was really bad. It just got to a point where I had no motivation to do anything. I didn't want to get up in the mornings. I was literally rolling out of bed at like 5 to 8 before work, just because I just had to. Like I didn't want to get up. I had even less motivation to do any of the work I had to do. Like I was really just doing it because I had to, and there was no support, and things were getting worse from like above. So eventually, even though I was feeling that way, and when you're feeling that way as well, you don't feel like you have the support or the strength to actually leave, because now you don't feel like I almost didn't feel like I was worthy of like finding something else, because I didn't feel like I was actually any good at what I was doing. So then it became a thing of like the negative self-talk as well, of, well, I won't find another job, and like, what am I going to do? And then the anxiety gets worse, because now you're stressed about not finding another job if you leave. So it really had to come, the decision eventually came, because I just knew I deserved better, because I eventually had to like look inwards and be like, this can't be it. I can't do this for another month, 2 months, 3 months. And even after I decided that, there was still a lot of anxiety about actually trying to tell them I wanted to leave, because even though everything had happened, I still didn't want to upset them or, you know, let them down by leaving. So then I still took that on myself, and I was like, oh no. But then again, I had to be like, no, they will find somebody else. There's so many people, like everyone's replaceable. So I was like, that's not an argument. Like, so I had to just be like, take the plunge.
Yes, and you literally did. So here there's a message where you've said, just wanted to let you know and say thank you for being a constant reminder of how important it is to put myself first and look after myself. So how did you do that, and how did that relate to you making that decision to take the plunge?
That started when I was home, actually, because I just felt so much more myself because I was away from the boat and everything. And I just realized that going back to the boat, I had to hold on to myself and feeling like myself and wanting to be me, that I decided then and there that I had to put myself first and I had to work on myself. So I actually started working with Chelsea, the yogi yachty, and I started with her coaching and her cleanse, and that's kind of where it also started. And the big one that I've told you was the meditation challenge that we did in March, I think, because then it made me refocus my attention on not what I don't have or not what's bad, but rather on gratitude.
What you do have.
And when you focus on gratitude and what you do have, you realize nothing is as bad as it appears. It helps you put things into a new perspective. So for me, I realized that I had so much, even if I didn't have this job or a job, like I still had so much. And I realized that I was, like I said, I deserve more. So by working on myself and investing in myself, because investing in a coach and investing the time in the meditation challenge, like I really had to commit to myself and invest in myself and that eventually is why it just became black and white. And I was like, but I can't stay here, because then I'm no longer valuing myself and putting myself and what I need first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how did you find the yacht that you're currently working on, and how do you think that is a match in terms of your value system? So we talk about manifestation, or goals is another word. So
Yeah.
how did you identify your values, and how did you know that it was a right fit for you?
I actually sat one day and just wrote out a list, I think it was of 10, because I like round numbers, of things I wanted out of my next yacht. And I just sat and I decided, and I just wrote them out. And I'll kind of say to myself, if the next boat meets at least 7 out of the 10, then that's something I would consider, because I don't think you'll ever find like a 10 out of 10. If you do, that's amazing. But if you're realistic about the situation, you will get maybe 7 out of 10. So I just wrote out the list, and I actually put what I wanted out of a boat on my screensaver on my phone. So it was something that's actually something I got from Leandra. She gave me that idea. So it was something I was actually looking at every day, and every time I got a job in, it was right there. Like if I found a job I wanted to apply for, I would first match its criteria with my criteria. So when this job came along, it really did. It met most of my the ones that I wanted out of the job. So I think it got to like 7 or 8. So I was like, yes, okay. Like it was the experience, it's everything. And I joined, and it was great. Like everything has its ups and downs, and nothing's perfect. That's what I had to realize as well, that I had to get out of this illusion that I was going to find like this perfect boat and everything was perfect, because that's also not reality. Like we do live in the real world. Yeah. So eventually, when I came to terms with the reality and that it's not always perfect, I realized like how great the boat was. And it also was from a more of a personal standpoint. Like for me, my career is incredibly important and my experience, but more important at this stage was the human connections and the people I was working with. And I've ended up working with an incredible bunch of girls. So for me, that was 10 out of 10. Like couldn't have asked for better, because right now or then that's what I needed. And I needed to just be with good, decent, lovely human beings, and that's exactly what I found. So
Amazing.
that's great.
So
Yeah.
I've sent you a message here and I've said, well done. It isn't easy what you've been through. You should be super proud of yourself. Their loss, your gain. And you said, I'm honestly just so grateful. I had the strength to stick with my gut and do what I knew what was right for me. I'm also glad I was able to keep my composure and be able to leave knowing I was the bigger person. It has taught me a lot, and I'm so excited to move to this new chapter and do it for myself. I'm doing this for me and no one else, and I will succeed. And that was the 1st of May. Now we're in November.
Yes, where's the time gone? I don't even.
Yeah, listening to that message and knowing where you are now from May till now.
I'm just so glad I had the faith in myself and the belief in myself and listening to that, it kind of feels so I'm like, I said that? That's like, I would hear other people say that, like, that's so cool. I guess you forget, and that's why I feel like retrospect is also so important, to look back and see where you've come from, how far you've come. So that's quite strange hearing that, because it doesn't feel like those words came from me. Like, I know now, like, I've done so much self-work as well, but I'm glad I had that mentality then. Otherwise I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yes, and it shows you the power of affirmations as well. So it's
100%.
that, relentless belief in yourself that you can do it and there are opportunities out there, and staying in a toxic environment is really going to limit your ability to thrive. So well done to you, because as I said in that message, it is not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of fear associated with leaving a yacht because of essentially what recruiters are telling you, that you need to have that longevity on your CV, but also the fear of, will I find something better? Is there something better out there for me? So
absolutely,
you had to share a top tip based on your experience with the crew who are in a situation right now that's unhealthy for them. What would that be?
it would be to believe in yourself and that you deserve better, because there's nothing is worth staying in a toxic environment, not the money, the longevity, the anything, because I think people just need to realize that they deserve better and that there's so much more out there, and it probably isn't what you assume it will be. Everything looks different than what we think it will be, but if you believe in yourself and have the faith in yourself to do what is right for you, that will be rewarded if you just take that first step.
That's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
That helps so many people.
I hope so.
I want the best for all of you. So it's so lovely to see you where you are today. So well done.
We're very lucky to have you. Thank you. Genuinely.